Okay, in today's section, we are going to see the second type of SQL commands, that is nothing but the data manipulation language. Now, this we have discussed in previous session also. So SQL commands, we are having DTL, DML, DCL, and TCL. So today we will focus on this DML, that is nothing but the data manipulation language. In DML, we are having select, insert, update, delete, merge, call, explain plain, and look table. But for this timing, we will go for select, insert, update, delete, and merge. So basically, what is DML? So this M stands for the manipulation. So with DDL, that is data definition language, we are creating the database schema or the database table. Now here we need to manipulating with the data which will be get added or which will be present in the database schema or database table. Now these are the different examples of the DML command. So first one is the insert. So it is used to insert data into the table. Then update. So this is for updating the data in the which is available in the table. Then select. So select is used to display the contents of the table. Delete, that is used to delete the record from the table. And merge, that is used to select the rows from one or more table. So these are the five DML commands we are going to discuss and going to implement by using the database handler, that is nothing but the MySQL. So first one, insert. So this is the statement in SQL. So basically it is called as the SQL query that is used to insert the data into the table. So at a time, one row in of the data, that is one row will be get inserted into the table. Now what is syntax for this? So syntax is insert. This is the keyword into table name. So here you need to give the actual table name where you are going to insert the data. Okay, then values. So after this table name, you may list out the columns available in the table. This is optional if you are not added any constraint to your table. If you added any primary key, which is auto incremented and all, or any another content constraints that you have added. So in that case, you need to write down or you need to list out the columns for which you are inserting the value. If you are inserting all columns for the single row, so you can skip this and you can write down insert into table name values and then value 1, 2, 3, 4, depending upon the number of columns in your table. Okay, so that I have written over here. So insert into table name values. Now, when this is optional, when no another constraint or no constraint is defined on your table. Okay, so for example, you have created the table student with roll number, first name and last name. Now how to insert? So insert into the table name. That is directly you need to write down the student and there's three columns that are for your table definition and values, then 60, Tom, and this one. Okay, now you can skip this and you can directly write down insert into students values and the list of values that you are providing for each column. The next one is the update. Now update, that is update or modify the value of the column in the table. That is the value of the data. So that can be done with the update. Then you need to give the table name. Then set, this is the keyword. Then you need to write down the column one ka name. Okay, so column name is equal to new value. Likewise, you can list out different columns for which you are setting the value. If possible, you can add the where clause. So where, which will help you to select the particular column. because as we are updating that updation will be applied to the single row. So it is necessary to give the where condition. That is, you need to write down the where clause in your query. Okay, so for example, update student. So student is the database. Then set first name is equal to John and last name is equal to Vic, where student ID is equal to 3. So what will be the output of this is that first it will go to the student ID for 3 and then it will change or it will set the first name as an a John and last name as an a Vic. So this is nothing but the update. Now get difference between the update and alter table. So in alter table, you are either adding the name column or you are deleting the column. And in update, you are modifying the contents in the column. Okay, no extra column will be added into your database. Then delete. Okay, so delete command is used to remove one or more rows from the table except your header row. So the syntax is delete from, then your table name, and you need to give the where clause. That is the you need to select the row, specific row for this. So for that you need to write down the where clause. So for example, delete from student where your SID is greater than 5 and less than 10. So four different records will be get deleted whose SID is equal to 6, 7, 8 and 9, because as you are written only greater than and less than, okay, so it will not include 5 and 10. Now in previous session we have seen that how we can delete the table. So for deleting table you need to write down the drop table. So drop table will enable you to delete the table or the database. Now along with that we have seen one more command, that is nothing but the truncate. So what truncate will do, it will delete all the records. When you want to delete individual record, you can go for the delete command, and when you want to delete all the records from the table, then you can go for the truncate. If you are applying or if you are executing delete command for all the rows repeatedly, that is equivalent to your truncate command. The next one, select. Select is used to display the data from your table or the database. Now, first or the simplest way to display the data, that is select star from the table name. So what it will do, it will display all the data, that is all rows and all columns from the table. So you can write down select star. Star means what? All columns from the table name. Okay. Then you can specifically display the columns from the table name. So that can be done with select column name. Okay, so if you want to display two columns, so you can write down column name 1, column name 2 from the table name. If you want to display a single column, you can write down select column name 1 from the table name. Now this is for displaying the whole column from your table. Now if you want to display a single row from the table, so for that you are having select command like select star from the student. Okay, so star means what? All columns from your table, but you are specifying the row. For example, SID is equal to 10. So what it will do? It will select the row whose SID is equal to 10 and will display all the columns. And as we have seen, when we want to display the specific column, you need to write down the specific column name. So this can be applied along with this. So for example, I just want to display the first name of the student whose SID is equal to 15. Okay, so what we have to do? So we have to write down select column name from table name where you need to put the conditions. For example, I've written SID is equal to 15. So likewise, you can give that into a range. For example, SID is greater than 10. So whichever records are having SID is greater than 10, that many records, that many FNAME will be get displayed from the student table. Okay, so these are the different forms of the select. So this is for displaying full table. This is for displaying two columns from the table. This is for displaying one column. This is for displaying one column for a specific record. Okay, so that is, it will only display, for example, name of that particular student. And this is for displaying complete, that is all columns, but only for few records. So for example, SID is greater than 10. So whichever records are having SID greater than 10, for that complete records or all columns will be displayed. Then next one, that is nothing but the merge. So merge statement, it will select the rows from one or more tables based on the specific condition. Okay, and it will insert or update the data into another table. So basically what merge will do, it will select some rows and insert into another one. So the table from which it is selecting the data is called the source table, and the table in which it is putting the data is called as the target table. So consider that you are having two different tables. So for example, consultant and employee. Now you want to copy the data from the consultant to employee based on the condition that if employees already exist in the employee table, then update the first name and the last name. And if it is not exist, then add new record. How you will write the query for this? So query, that syntax will be like this. So first merge into. So these are nothing but the keyword. So target table name using source table on the condition what you are putting when match. If that is available, then update this one. When you are updating again, following our update command table, that is update table name, set, then column values. And if it is not matched, okay, if it is not matched, then insert. So if it is matched, then update with the first name. And if it is not matched, then you need to insert. Now here, target table is nothing but in this case, we are having, for example, employee table and using the source table. So we are having, what was the source? Consultant table. Okay, so we are copying from consultant to employee. Okay, so this will be executed. So if that is already available in the employee table, only updation will be taken place. And if it is not available, then new record will be added into the table. Okay, so these are nothing but the different data manipulation commands we are going to use. Okay, now we will move to the database handler, that is nothing but the MySQL set. Now, this is the MySQL command line client that we have used in previous session also. So first you have to start with the password, then you will find the MySQL command line compiler. Okay, so what we will do, first we will create one table and then we will apply all the DML commands on that. Okay, so by using create database, we will create one database here. So create database, for example, student. Okay, it is already exists, so we can directly use it. So use student. Okay, now I will first check the different tables available in this. So show tables. So you don't have any table, so I can create the table with my choice. So create table student 1 with, for example, SID as an integer, S name with varchar, with size, for example, 20, then S address with varchar again 20, and I will add one more, that is nothing but S contact with integer. Okay, now table is created. So again, I can see, I can execute the command show table. Now in my student database, one table is there, that is nothing but student. Now we will use data manipulation command. So first we need to insert data into the table. So what is syntax for that? So syntax for adding or inserting data into table is insert into, what is table name? That is nothing but student one. Okay. Now, as I have not applied any constraint for this, so I can directly write down values. And here I need to give the values for SID integer, name, address, and the contact. So I will write down SID, for example, 1, which is integer. Now, as it is a varchar, so I need to write that into a single quote. So I will write, for example, Swati. Then I will write address as a Mumbai, and I will write down some contact, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then semi. Okay. Now it shows that one row is affected, means what? One record has been added into the table. So likewise, I can go for another one. So I can write down, for example, 2. Here I will add one more name, for example, Monali. Then I will add the address as an Pune, and I will add contact as like this. Okay. Now then I will execute. Again, one row is inserted. Now we will go with the another way for inserting into database. So insert into student one. What are the columns for this? That is nothing but the SID. Here we do not require to give the specification for the column. So just write down the column name. So S name, then S address, and S contact. And after that, these are nothing but the columns that are available. After that, you need to write down the values, and in values you can write down, for example, I wrote 3 comma ram comma, so should be in single quotes, ram, then address, for example, Delhi, and some contact with us. Okay, then semicolon. Okay, again, one row is inserted. So this is what inserting data into your table. Now, how to see the contents from your table? So for that, we are having the select query. So select star from table name. So table name is nothing but the student one. Okay. So with this, I'm able to see all 4 columns with all 3 records. Now, for example, I just want to display this column uh, SID and S name from the student for all the records. So how I will use this? So this can be used with select first column, that is nothing but the SID, comma, S name from table name. Table name is nothing but the student one. Okay, so only 2 columns for all 3 records will be displayed. Okay, now I want to display only this first row from the table. So I want all the columns from the table. So I need to write down star, but I need to display for only one. So for example, I'm putting condition that when SID is equal to 1, display all the columns for that particular record. So this can be done with select star from student where SID is equal to 1. Okay, so when I will execute this, sorry, our table name is equal to student 1. Okay, so with this, we are able to see the complete record from the table. So likewise, we can go for selecting or displaying only 2 columns for this. So for example, I want to display SID and S name for a record which SID is equal to 1. So how I will write down the query for this? So select first column, that is nothing but the SID, comma, S name from table name, that is nothing but the student one, where SID is equal to 1. Okay, so now here you can see that for this whole record, only two attributes has been displayed. Okay, one and that is SID and yes name. Likewise, you can do for the individual one. For example, I just want to display all the yes names from the table. Okay, so how I will write down, select S name from student one. Okay, so what it will do, it will display all the names, only names from all records. So here you can see only the column for this. Okay, so this is what, that is nothing but the using or displaying the contents from the table. That is nothing but the select. So we have created one table, then we have inserted value into the table, and we have displayed this. Now moving to the next data manipulation language. So what we will do, first we will update it and then we will go for the deleting. Okay, so how to update? So for example, I want to change the address of third record. Okay, so it is with SID 3, name is Ram. I want to change this address from Delhi to Nagpur. How I can do this? So for that we are having the update command. So that can be written as update. We need to update the table. Okay, so for update student one, now we need to set the value for column. Okay, so set column name. What is column name for that? That is nothing but the S address. Set S address is equal to value for that. So I want to change it to Nagpur. Okay, so I will do this for only single record. So yes, address is equal to Nagpur. Now I need to select a particular record. Okay, so I can use any column to select that particular record. So what I will do, I will use SID. So where SID of that record is equal to, for example, 3. Okay, so how update can be done? So update query will be written as update student table name, set column name is equal to the new value, and after that you need to write down the where clause. So what I will do, I will change the address of record 2 with the address is equal to Nagpur. Now here we need to check that key, does that particular changes has been applied or not on your database. So select star from the student one. So here you can see that what we have wrote, that is update the student one S address to Nagpur where ID is equal to 2. Actually, I have executed one more query for updation, that is nothing but setting the SID is equal to 5 for SID is equal to 3. So previously SID for RAM was 3. Okay, here you can see that SID for RAM was 3, that I have updated to 5. Okay, and the record remaining contents was as it is. Now I have changed the address as address of record 2 to Nagpur. Previously it was Pune, right? Now it has been changed to a Nagpur. So this is possible with the update. So likewise, for example, you can update one more record or one more column. For example, change or update contact. Okay. Now it is an integer, so you can just write down the number for this. So for example, I wrote like this, where SID is equal to, for example, 1. Okay. So I will write down 1. And if I execute, So that changes has been done. So I can see that. So here you can see that previously for record, first record, that is SID is equal to 1, the contact was 11111. Now it has been replaced with 999 with 99996. This is what updation. And the next DML command that we are going to see, that is nothing but the delete. Now how we can delete a particular row from the table? So delete from table name. What is table name? That is nothing but the student one. And here compulsory we need to write down the where clause because we need to select the particular row for this. Okay, so delete from the table from student one where, for example, SID is equal to 5. So what is expected after executing is that this last row should be get deleted. Okay, so we will check for that. Okay, now we will select complete data from the table. So here we can see that right now we are having only 2 rows. Okay, here we are having 3 rows. Now we will execute truncate command here. Okay, what truncate will do? Truncate will delete all the records from the table. So right now in our table, we are having 2 different records that can be deleted individually with the delete command for SID1 and for SID2. But if I want to delete complete data from the table, so I can go for the command truncate student1. Okay. And if I execute this query, okay, now I will select complete data from the table. So here you can see that it is a empty state. So what truncate will do? Truncate will delete the number of rows from your table, but it won't delete the whole table. And if I want to delete the table from this whole table, I have to use the drop table command. Okay, so first what I will do, I will first list out the table from my database. So I will use show tables. So right now I'm having one table in my database that is nothing but student one. Now I will apply drop table student one. Okay, so what it will do, it will enable me to delete the table from my database. Now again, I will execute show tables. Now it will be empty set. So whatever table was there, that has been deleted from my database. Now I will drop the database. So drop database. And what is database name? That is nothing but the student. Sorry. Drop database student. Okay, so database has been deleted. Now I can list out the database. So show databases in my at my terminal. So no student database is there in this. Okay, so you can see this, you can execute all this data manipulation language commands at your end. All the best.